All right, good afternoon. My name is Sergeant Barone. Today I'll be going over the M978 and showing y'all how to recirculate. All right, so first thing we got to do before we approach our vehicle or any type of equipment is safety. All right, we got to make sure we got our eye pro, ear pro, and gloves. All right, I do not have gloves because I'm gonna be showing y'all notionally how to do this. All right, so make sure that once you got all your PPE, make sure that your vehicle is grounded and bonded. Make sure that you have your drip pan, chop block, and a fire extinguisher within 5 to 10 feet. You also want to have your no smoking signs, all right, within 50 feet. All right, after you're done doing your safety, you're going to go ahead and move on to your PMCS. At the same time, you're going to have your battle buddy. This time I'm going to have Daniels go up there, and Daniels is going to go ahead and gauge the vehicle twice, all right? And she's going to also ensure that the manhole is open, because when I'm operating this, the manhole needs to be open. All right, Daniel, go up there. And while you're climbing the vehicle, make sure that you have 3 points of contact at all times. 3 points of contact. So once she gets up there, I'm going to open the back of the helmet. All right, she's up there. And if your helmet doesn't want to open, what you do is you pull this out, and then you go ahead and tap it. All right, and that'll loosen that up. All right, now that I have this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check my hose reel, my V7 and my V8 hose reel. What I'm checking for is dry rot, and I'm checking to make sure that the hose isn't cracked. All right, I'm checking my gauges to make sure that my gauges ain't cracked. I'm also checking my V6. I'm pulling my V6 out, and I'm pushing my V6 in. I'm pulling my V1 out and pushing it back. I'm also checking my hydraulic enabler. All right. The reason I'm checking those is because I want to make sure that they're not loose. All right. I don't want them coming all the way down. What I want to make sure is that they have some tension, but not too much. All right. So once I'm done over here in the back checking it, I'm gonna go ahead and ask my battle buddy, how much fuel do I have up there?
We have 250, 500 liters.
All right. We have 2,500 gallons. All right. We check gallons, unless we're with our NATO allies. We go ahead and use liters. All right. Now that I've checked the back, what I will go ahead and do is do a walk around, do a 360. And when I'm doing the 360, I'm gonna be checking the tires, the tanks. Follow me. All right. I'm also gonna be checking my placards. And at this time, what I want to do is I also want to check my tank. I want to make sure that it got actual fuel in there so I can do my operations. I'm going to hold the chain up. That way it doesn't get stuck. And I'm going to open up the fuel cap. Take out the filter. And visually inspect that it has fuel. And it does have fuel. So I can go ahead and close that. I'm going to hold the chain up. And I'm going to lock this back in place. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my battery disconnect. All right. I'm going to turn my battery disconnect on. Go ahead and get a picture of that right there. Because it has an on and off switch. All right. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. All right. So, assuming that the battery disconnect is turned on, I'm going to enter the cab with 3 points of contact. At no point will you ever grab the horn and pull yourself up, because what's going to happen is you're going to break the horn like the way they did here. Okay, so this is the horn. All right. Now, when you're over here, you're going to switch your engine to the on position. Can you see this right here? All right. What you're going to do is you're going to hear a noise. All right. Right now, there's no noise because the battery disconnect is off. But if the battery disconnect was on and I were to switch the engine to on, what you would hear is you would hear a beep. Once that beep dissipates, what you can go ahead and do is turn the engine to start. All right. Once the engine starts, you can go ahead and engage your PTO switch. Right here, the PTO switch is the silver lever. You're going to pull it up and push it that way. Now your PTO is engaged. The reason you have to engage your PTO is so your pump in the back can go ahead and start. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and dismount the vehicle using 3 points of contact. All right, at this point, the truck would be on and it would be running. So now that the truck is on and running, I conducted my PMCS, my safety, and I know how many gallons I got up there. I got 2,500 gallons. So what I can do is I can recirculate half that product, or I can recirculate 4 to 5 minutes. In this case, I'm gonna go ahead and recirculate 4 to 5 minutes. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna locate where my D1 is. My D1 is located on my V8 side. So I'm gonna carefully, with 2 hands, hold the D1 up and facing up towards the sky. That way the fuel doesn't drip. All right, once it touches the ground, that's it, I'm good to go. I wanna place this over my shoulder. Now, if you're vertically challenged, what you wanna do is you wanna scoot this a little bit further out and go like that while still having the hose on your shoulder. All right? Now notice how the handles are parallel to the marching surface. Once they're parallel to the marching surface, I can go ahead and hook up. Once it is hooked up, I'm gonna twist it to the right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and kind of shake it to make sure that it's secure. Now, since I'm here on the left-hand side, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up my D1. All right? So right here, this is I opened up my D1, and since I'm on this side, I can also engage my lever, my hydraulics. All right, so I engaged my hydraulics and I turned on I opened my D1 because I'm on the left side. Now I can go ahead and move on to the right side. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and give my V6 a high five. All right, because I'm gonna be pushing fuel out from the tank and in through the filter. All right, second thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that my meter is cleared, it's zeroed out. In this case it is, so I can leave that alone. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up my V8 valve, making sure that it is parallel. If it is parallel, that means it is open and the flow of fuel can come through the hose reel and through my tank. All right, the last thing I gotta do here is go ahead and open up my V1. All right, once my V1 is open, now I can come over here back to my left side, get my hand activated valve, my hand activated control valve. Now this is spring loaded. All right, what that means is you have to yank it out and then you got to pull it forward and pull it back, and you're gonna hear it click in place. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and hold my hand activated valve for 5 to 10 seconds. All right, or until my NCOIC tells me go ahead and turn on the high idle. All right, why I do that, I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna let this go, but you would normally be holding it. All right, I'm gonna let it go because I don't want to, the truck's not on. But what you do is you come over here behind this metal bar while you're still holding on to this and pressing it. You're gonna put your throttle control and you're gonna flip the switch up and you're gonna push your high enable on. All right, once your high enable goes on, you're gonna hear the pump. It's gonna make a louder noise. It's gonna go from to. All right, at this time what you want to do is perform G-Love. All right, your during PMCS. Now G-Love stands for gauges, leaks, unusual noises, and vibrations. All right, so I'm checking for that, making sure that I got no leaks, everything looks good. Okay, so now that I've conducted that, I'm gonna begin shutdown procedures. All right, at this time your NCOIC or whoever's gonna say, all right, cut it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come back over here, you're gonna put your throttle control down. All right, then you're gonna go ahead and release your hand activated valve. All right, and you can disengage your pump, your hydraulics. All right, I'm gonna leave that there. Since I'm over here too, I'm gonna go ahead and close my D1. All right, so now my D1 is closed, everything on this side is turned off. Now I'm gonna come over here to the right side. I'm gonna flip this up. Then I'm gonna go ahead and turn my V8 off. And I'm gonna keep making sure that my V8 is pushed in. Excuse me, my V6. Now sometimes your NCOIC or whoever you're with might tell you to extract the line. If they tell you to do that, that means they want you to drain the fuel, the remaining fuel that's in here, back into the tank. And if that's the case, all you gotta do is pull your V6 out and then just go ahead and engage your hydraulics and do everything I told you before with your throttle. Push the lever and it'll suck all the fuel back from the main hose all the way back into the tank. However, we're not extracting the fuel because we don't have to. All right, but if you were setting up a fart, you would extract the fuel from the lines. All right, but since we were just doing recirculation, we don't have to. Now that I'm done with that, everything's turned off over here. Now what I can go ahead and do is first, I'm gonna click this back and make sure you have positive control. What you're gonna do is you're gonna pull it out and you're gonna walk it back in. All right, don't let it control you, you control it. All right, that is good. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my battle buddy. She's gonna come over here and she's gonna reel it in. All right, come over here, grab the lever and reel it in. All right, at this time I'm gonna disengage. Watch your feet. All right, so while my battle buddy's over there reeling it in, I'm holding the D1 facing up towards the sky because I don't want the fuel to be leaking. All right, so we're walking it back in. Keep walking it, keep going, keep going. All right, that's good. All right, take that off. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put my D1 back in here. Now notice how I put the D1 back over there and not just right on top of here. The reason I have it facing over there is so the D1 doesn't fall back when I open these doors. All right, and that concludes my class. Once you are done, you're gonna go ahead and do an after PMCS and check your truck one last time, how many gallons you got, to make sure that you still got your 2,500 gallons in there.